Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. This is another video about the snowstorm, as you could tell by the title and the thumbnail of this video. So we have, I guess, come into better agreement. The models have, and the forecast has adjusted slightly since yesterday. Okay, so we'll be updating you guys on that. But overall, this storm is very powerful, very strong, multi-faced. I mean, severe weather, heavy rain, ice, a major icing event possible, and heavy snow. So that's at least 4 in the wind, and then, the other things like tornadoes, the subcategories. But all I ask for you in turn for this, for my production of this video is a like on this video. Watch the video, see for yourself. If you like what you're seeing, consider liking the video. If you really like the channel, you go and check it out and you really like it, consider subscribing. Really means a lot. So let's get on to this. Right now we're looking at the GFS model. Oh yeah, by the way, this will probably be my last upload about this winter storm, as not much really will change about this storm tomorrow, I don't think, at least, and there will be some differences, but that's up to the National Weather Service to really keep up and keep track of, as they get paid the money to do that. I do this free of charge. So this is just kind of a supplemental to the National Weather Service Weather Ready Nation map that you guys already should be on top of in cases like this. So this storm, let me tell you guys, one of the biggest storms of the season, probably it's basically a historic storm. I mean, the precipitable water in the atmosphere is just off the charts. I mean, ridiculous amounts. And for January, that is. Even for, if it wasn't January, regular spring storm or fall storm, it would still be relatively speakingly high. So when that all transitions into ice or rain, you could just imagine this storm has just so much potential and so much power. And the thing was that why the storm was so hard to predict and the models were so differencing on this is because the storm really isn't a storm now. I mean, you could see across the surface area map, there's basically nothing going on. We have one disturbance right here, which brought up a little bit of Gulf of Mexico moisture. Then this storm only starts developing across the Ozarks, and then you could see that we see just a load of snow, some ice, and just tons of rain on the front side, east side of it, while the low pressure system is still relatively weak. I mean, it's not even showing up on the surface map up until, I guess, early Saturday or late Friday, and you can see that by then we just have a huge slug of moisture. This precipitation is very heavy, falling at very heavy rates, and you could see that there is just yellow and orange colors blossoming all across the Missouri, the Ozarks, Arkansas, Texarkana area, eastern Oklahoma, and into Illinois and Indiana. And then notice, if you were to look at this, notice that we see quite a bit of this pink and purple right there. That's sleet and freezing rain. This would be mainly a sleet over freezing rain event. The thermal profiles in the atmosphere are more supportive of a sleet event rather than a freezing rain event, and that's due to several reasons which I won't get into, as it'll basically bore you. But what you want to know is that the colder air is a little bit deeper and a little bit more resistant to the warmth, and that will cause sleet and less freezing rain. So some locations across northern Illinois, Missouri, southeastern Iowa, and into central Michigan could be looking at an half an inch of freezing, or a quarter inch of freezing rain, possibly. I think that's about as high as it's gonna get. But they could see up to 1 to 2 inches of sleet, which would be, which sounds bad, but sleet is, you'd prefer sleet any day over freezing rain. I would, anyone would, as that doesn't really stick to the power lines, doesn't really stick to anything. It just falls on the ground kind of like snow, just hard, heavy snow, if you will, kind of like hail. But again, freezing rain is still not out of the question. Even a tenth of an inch of freezing rain would be pretty problematic, and we're looking at that for many locations. It just doesn't seem to be a crippling ice storm, though I wouldn't be surprised if some ice storm warnings would be issued. Notice that this is where the storm really develops, right here, and this is, again, very problematic because the models always have a tough time tracking such a quickly strengthening storm. That is very hard to predict, and it changes dynamically almost as fast as it intensifies. So the forecast for the storm will probably still change slightly across the area, but notice, you could see we have a decent low pressure system delivering snow and ice across many of the locations like Michigan, Wisconsin, northern Illinois. At this point, if you live in a Chicago area, it seems as if the most heavy snow will be to the north and west. The GFS really likes keeping the stuff more to the south and east than it should be. I think that this would be more to the north and west than what the GFS is showing, and that is because the European has been showing a more westernly scenario, while the GFS has been kind of tagging along with that with each model run. So I think that the GFS really is not doing its best job here. Yesterday my opinion was a little bit different, but ever since then it has changed. And again, that's basically why this storm is hard to predict. You don't know which model had a better handle on it up until a day ago, where the storm really got on shore from the disturbance in British Columbia where it originated from, and that's when the models got a better handle on it. Notice we see just loads of precipitation. Very severe weather is very possible across the southern U.S. There's a moderate risk, I think, for tomorrow, issued for tomorrow, and enhanced for a good portion of the country. So if you live in the south, guys, please stay safe, as that is very dangerous, if not the most dangerous part of the storm, where the tornadoes possibly may hit, strong winds, some supercell development may also be likely. So that is definitely something to be weary about as well, not only the snow and sleet. Notice we have more purple than pink. That is to do with more sleet than rain, or than freezing rain. Look at the total snowfall accumulations. It's a bit overdone by the GFS, as it takes in some of the sleet as snow, even though it shouldn't. So this is a bit overdone. Chicago won't be seeing 14 inches of snow. You'd be lucky if you see 1, 2, 3, because that's the GFS. I don't think has a good handle on it. I mean, I'm wishing that the GFS was right. It seems more of a Milwaukee, Wisconsin based, Madison, Wisconsin. These locations, Davenport, Quad Cities will just be getting loads of snow out of this. So if you live in Milwaukee, I know I had a few complainers out there that were really wanting those snow, really wanting that snow, and were saying they would never get snow in a million years. That's apparently how long the snow drought has been. Well, out of this snowstorm, you will see a lot of this. You'll see the GFS is underestimating these amounts. I'll show you the National Weather Service amounts in just a minute. It looks as if a widespread 8 to 12 inches will fall right across these locations. So yes, a foot of snow across Milwaukee seems very likely. So it does across Davenport, Dubuque, Iowa, and possibly even into western portions of western Iowa or central Iowa, like Des Moines, Iowa. That one also is under risk for some heavier snow. Let's look at the other models. Like the Canadian kept things very far to the west, and I just don't like this scenario. I mean, it really just doesn't do. It just does a really poor job of things. If you were to look at the higher resolution models, which are usually superior to the longer range in the short range that they cover, you can see they put out actually quite a bit of snow across Iowa, and that definitely is not what the CMC agrees with, the Canadian. So at this point, Canadian probably has the worst, GFS a little bit better, and then the European probably has the best handle. Let me show you the European snowfall amounts. This is what it shows. You can see it shows snow all the way down across Oklahoma City, Kansas City, basically the Red River Valley across southern Oklahoma could be seeing some snow. Extreme northern Texas could be seeing around an inch. Then Oklahoma City around 3 inches. Portions of north to central Oklahoma could be seeing around 6 to 7 inches. Kansas City 7, 8 inches according to the Europeans, so some significant amounts. Notice once we get into Milwaukee, all these locations up here, we just start seeing loads and loads of snow. Well, is the European 100% right? I don't think so. Will there be some deviance, either northwest or southeast? Yes, there will be. Now, so see La Crosse right here. If you live in La Crosse, you have around half an inch, maybe an inch. If this moves a little bit further to the west and south, or north and west, you could see 1 to 3, maybe even a little bit more. Chicago, on the other hand, is seeing 1 to 2. If this moves just even a little bit further to the south and east, you could be looking at 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow. Especially as you go towards Rockford, you could see some moderate amounts. Generally 1 to 3 in the Chicago area. Once you get up towards Wisconsin border, you get close to 8, 9, 10, and it's a really sharp cutoff. But Milwaukee seeing possibly up to 15 inches. So yeah, you got a doozy out of this one, guys. Should feel lucky with this, as this doesn't always happen, and these storms are pretty hard fetched. Now this is the Weather Ready Nation map, and you can see it's just a whole area of winter storm watches, of flood warnings, flood watches, flood advisories, everything of that sort. Let's go to the Chicago area, as a lot of my viewers are from that area. And let's see, you can see we have winter storm watches to the north, we have flood watches to the south. This is where, I mean, things just get such a sharp cutoff where we see so much rain, they need flood watches, so much snow and ice where they need winter storm warnings. So you can see that contrast is basically one county. So it doesn't happen all too often, these type of events where the rain and snow are so close to each other at the same time with such high magnitudes. So that's what made the storm just a nightmare to predict. Notice snowfall potential. They have basically they say 6+ across the Rockford area, 3+ inches plus across the Chicago metropolitan area, not the metropolitan, the suburbs, and then across the metro, it's 1 inch plus. I think these amounts may be a little bit underdone, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised, if there's an inch of sleet by itself. So if you live in downtown Chicago, I wouldn't expect much out of this. Really, I would say that there's a good portion of you that will be seeing, I guess sleet, but snow will just be hard to fetch until late Saturday. Chicago's probably the hardest city out of all of these cities to predict, because of just I guess the gradient lies right over such a huge population. It's going to be tough. Kansas City a little bit easier. You can see it's not as rain, little to nothing. It's widespread 5 or 3 to 6 inches. So I think you will definitely be in for a good snowstorm out of you for Kansas City, Kirksville, Bethany, all those locations. St. Joseph still seeing 4 to 6 inches. So this is 4.6, but 4 to 6 seems pretty likely as well. Davenport, let's go right here. Let's look at your, if you will, your snowfall accumulations. You can see this is the freezing rain probability. Notice is a little bit further to the south. So that is a potentially very significant icing event. This is the potential snowfall. This was published at 3:29 p.m. and notice just a load of snow across Freeport, Sterling, Quad Cities, and just a overall very, very productive snowstorm out of this snowstorm. Lots of snow, and the snowfall amounts will still be changing a bit in the future, but how much they will change, it's a little bit tough to see at this point. You can see they have also winter storm watches for Milwaukee, though I can't find your snowfall totals. Let's see if we could go to the situation report. Sorry if I'm jumping around a bit. I'm just trying to show everyone their offices. This is the round 1, 6 p.m. through noon Saturday. Basically nothing compared to what's coming. You can see right here where we're just looking at very, very significant amounts. You could see just the second wave will impact all of southern Wisconsin Sunday afternoon through Sunday morning. Just ridiculous amounts, and I feel a little bit unlucky that we're going to be looking at basically nothing here in Chicago, while just north of us it's heavy snow. But that's typical. Usually Chicago, I'm not saying Chicago gets robbed every time. It's just that when it's kind of after a warm period of temperatures, you usually see the snow staying to the north and west, and the lake warms things up. That's normal though. And again, sharp cutoff across both locations, so we'll just have to keep this on our watch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.